Welcome back. Phone snatching is on the rise and it's a crime police are desperate to get a grip on. Met officers seized more than 1,000 stolen devices in just a week. And now the Home Secretary wants to speed up search warrants so they can catch those responsible faster. Chris Hobbs, the former Met police officer and former border control officer, is here for more on this. Thanks so much for joining us, Chris. I mean, just firstly, why has this as an instance of crime risen so much? Because it's easy to steal these phones?
I think basically, yes, it is. I think people are very unaware a lot of the time that when they're using their mobile phones, they could be targets for these lads on bikes and on e-bikes and so on and so forth who will snatch their phones. So part of the answer isn't just arresting, it's also making sure people are aware of their surroundings and not expose themselves to the thefts, which of course can cause an awful lot of anxiety when you do lose your phone.
I mean, it sounds like what we just discussed is a reactive response from the Home Office and from the police. If you increase both the size and the effectiveness of punishment, what about being more proactive? I mean, is that down to simply a greater police presence on the streets?
Well, we come to a whole different ballgame here because obviously police at the moment are under massive pressure. There's not enough police officers. The French have got 100,000 more police officers than we've got. You've got a demoralised police force at the moment. You've got experienced officers leaving. You've got problems with recruitment and retention. And you've got a huge demand, all sorts of priorities. This week it's phone theft, next week it'll be something else. So you've got the police service basically crumbling under the pressure that it's under. And phone theft is just one manifestation of the problems the police service have got, with apparently more cuts on the way, which is extremely worrying for police officers who are out on the front line.
Is there talk about whether the phone manufacturers could make the stolen product either more hard to use once it's been taken out of the hands of the owner, or easier to track once it's been stolen?
You can track them, and in fact I was doing some research on this last night because like a lot of phone owners, I don't really take an awful lot of precautions. I'm very aware of my surroundings, but I'm an ex-police officer. There is a very good website, Money Saving Expert, with Martin Lewis, and if you search your Money Saving Expert and phone theft, it will take you to probably the best article I've read about how to secure your phone and also what happens if your phone is stolen and what you need to do very quickly, because often it's not the phone, but it's what's on it. So if they can get into your bank account, for example, and get money from your account before the phone is locked, but there are things you can do to prevent it, and if it is the worst happens, how you can make life difficult for the thief and safeguard yourself. So it's a website very well worth having a look at.
Lots of good financial advice websites are available. Let's just touch on the sort of punishments that exist. How, if someone is caught in the act of doing this, how is it classified, and is there any discussion of whether that should be changed or increased?
Well, it's basically a theft. It doesn't get its own classification, or I doubt whether it does, bearing in mind I've been out of the police for a few years, but it is a theft. Will it be investigated? If it's a robbery and there's force used to get the phone, yes, in all probability it will be investigated. If it's a simple theft, these days, like shopliftings, police are under such pressure that, frankly, although it's a disaster for you or me if we lose our phones, it's probably not going to be a high priority because of the massive pressures that are on the police. So the best thing to do is not to expose your phone to the thief in the first place. And you do see people wandering around with phones sticking out of their back pockets, for example. So you do have to be aware, and when you're wrapped up in a call, somebody can come along, snatch your phone, and they're away. One of the tactics used a few years ago was tactical contact. So we had a spate of this before the pandemic. Police dealt with it by literally knocking people off their bikes. These days, because police can get into trouble so easily for undue use of force, I think you'll find police officers are reluctant to take that, because an investigation that could go on for years and the police officer could find himself in court and worse.
Chris Hobbs, thanks for joining us. Great to speak to you.